What's up, guys? Big Papa Drock back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. How we all doing? It's the day after Christmas when I'm recording this. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. Did something fun with your families. I had a very chill day and a fun Christmas party stream, which was great. So really enjoyed that. It's going to be a good week for me. We got lots of fun streams coming up. I've got all these cool co-streams with some really great creators to talk about Raid. So if you're not in the Discord and you're interested in checking that out, make sure you join the Discord because that's where I'll be putting the links to those. So super excited about that, to get to share Raid with other creators who do different stuff, whether it's games or real life content. So yeah, pretty cool. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Karilon the Ringer. As we all know, we had a recent 2x with Georgian and with Karilon. And although I couldn't pull another Georgian, the pain is real. I did not get my last Georgian in order to plus 4 him. I'm learning to speak here, apparently. I wasn't able to get a Georgia, but I was able to get a Karilon, and so I thought I would do a showcase on him. And Karilon is one of the newest voids that they've added to the game, and I actually pulled a 5-star soul for him as well. So where's Karilon? Why am I blind? Here he is. Look at this guy. He kind of looks like a Santa who's gone to the dark side and has been turned into Metal Mario or something. I don't know. He's got a weird type of crazy look. Super cool looking champion. Metal Santa is what I'm going to call him, with this weird, interesting dome hat going on there. But let's take a look at his skills. I haven't booked him out yet. I don't think it's super necessary at the moment, but he's got an A1 attack all enemies, 35% chance of decreasing the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. So this would be something I would like see in live arena versus maybe a Helicath to decrease the block damage buffs that he puts up. We got an A2 attacks all enemies, 75% chance of placing a hex debuff and a 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns. So that's not bad for something like Hydra. If the target is under a freeze debuff, has a 75% chance of placing a hex debuff and a 25% weaken debuff for 3 turns instead. Okay, cool. Hex is useful in Hydra. Weaken's never a bad thing. Attacks all enemies, so you're placing that on everybody. That's pretty great. Let's take a look at the A3. Polar Vortex places a freeze debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Fully depletes the turn meters of all enemies that receive freeze debuffs from the skill. That sounds incredible. Fills the turn meters of all allies by 10% for each freeze debuff attempt blocked or resisted by the enemy team. So this is a really interesting ability, right? Because Karilon is set up to be essentially your speed lead for your team. And so what he's doing here is he's either boosting you if he can't land those freeze debuffs, or alternatively, he is completely destroying the turn meter of any champion who gets a freeze debuff. So this is a really interesting ability, especially when it's combined with his passive, which is that allies will ignore 10% of the target's defense if the target is under freeze debuffs. And if the freeze debuff was placed by this champion, allies will ignore 20% of the target's defense instead. That's actually a potentially really powerful passive. Obviously, when you place a freeze debuff on somebody, they're taking less damage. Freeze debuff means they don't take as much damage as they normally would. But if you're ignoring 20% of the target's defense, which if he's landing the freeze debuff, you're definitely going to have a chance to hit the enemy champion just by the nature of the fact that he's dropping the turn meter entirely. Well, that could really stack up. That could really do some damage. My first thoughts on this champion are that he would be god tier in a pre-polymorph, pre-stone skin meta. Like if you look at his reviews, they're not very good. The reviews are pretty brutal. Really brutal, to be honest, especially for a void. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that in today's meta, so many champions have stone skin and so many champions, as we know, have polymorph. So he has a real chance to be a big sheep magnet, which kind of is a bummer because I think his A3 is super interesting, super cool. The fact that he's filling turn meters isn't bad, right? So he is going to increase turn meter if he doesn't land that freeze debuff. But unlike someone like Arbiter or, Shuzen even, he's not giving you increased attack. He's not giving you increased defense like Sifi. So he's not buffing your damage directly in that respect, unless he's landing that freeze debuff with the passive. So really interesting champion. I've tried him out a little bit and I have some thoughts. We're going to go in and we're going to test him out in arena right away. I don't think that really makes sense to bring him in to like do a damage test. I've got him in Intimidating Presence 5-star, but I think you could make a really good case to put him in something like potentially Polymorph, of course, or even Temporal Chains, depending on what level of the blessing you're at. But for now, we've got him in Intimidating Presence to be more of a speed lead. Though realistically, my build, I don't have him super fast at the moment. We'll get into that in a second. Let's take a look at the masteries first. Masteries, pretty standard here. You know, we got Eagle Eye for increased accuracy. You do want to build this champion with accuracy and speed. Those are the two important things. We've also got Cycle of Magic, really great skill for champions like this, because obviously they get back to their abilities faster potentially. And then Lore of Steel to increase speed, given he's got some speed sets on him. And then over here, Cycle of Revenge, again, trying to increase the turn meter. And you want him to be counterattacking, ideally, because of the fact that his A1 does have the ability to, what am I clicking over here? His A1 does have the ability to decrease enemy buffs. And that is super useful, whether it's on a Sifi, whether it's on a Duchess with Veil. This is a potentially really great A1. So I don't want to downplay it, right? But let's take a look at how I've built him. I haven't put him in my like god tier gear, but I put him in what I would call really solid gear, overall solid. So we got a triple roll of speed on the weapon. We've got double speed, double accuracy on the helm, speed and divine speed sets. We've got triple speed with accuracy. We've got double speed, lots of defense here. Accuracy with a double speed, because I don't even have a triple accuracy speed chest on my entire account in speed set, which is pain. And then just speed with HP, nothing crazy. I don't have any more speed plus speed boots. Ideally, he would be in speed plus speed to make him faster on the boot. For the accessories, we got a triple roll accuracy. You can see I've got a lot of room to glyph him. I'm just out of glyphs. What else is new? This happens every single time I do one of these videos. We've got double accuracy resistance, and then we've got a reaction ring just because it's got a triple roll on HP. Ideally, you're not using reaction on him because of his speed. You would really want to have more of a refresh set on him, or even potentially the new stuff, the supersonic type stuff, or even maybe Stone Skin. You know, you could make an argument for Stone Skin as well, but I just don't have super good refresh gear for accuracy type stuff for Knights Revenant. So overall, let's take a look at what the stats are. We've got 62k health, we've got almost 4k defense, 352 speed, and then 560 accuracy. So I would much rather have this speed be more like 390, 400, 420. Again, he's meant to be the speed lead on your team because his aura is a plus 30% speed, similar to Arbiter. So he's kind of meant to replace Arbiter, but how I am going to use him is as essentially a complement to Arbiter at the moment, since I don't have him fast enough and he's not 6-star ascended in order to really be the speed lead you need in Platinum Arena. So let's go ahead and take him in there. Let's see what he can do. There's something that I've noticed, and I'm not sure if this is a bug, but there is something that I have noticed in his kit that I'm trying to figure out what the situation is here, in terms of if it's a bug or maybe I'm just misinterpreting it. But let's go ahead and throw Karilon in here. Also, notice his name is Karilon, the Ringer, right? Like, he's caroling. Anybody else? Maybe just me, Karilon. I don't know. I don't know if that was on purpose, but just something to occur to me. This is not an ideal team from the perspective of making sure Georgia doesn't die. A better like combo might be using a Leorius here, because we really do need to still shut down skills. We could hypothetically get rid of the Yumiko and just run Necrit as well. But ideally, you're replacing the Arbiter entirely with Karilon and not having to use her whatsoever. And that way you can use someone like Necrit here to protect whoever your nuker is. But let's go in here. Let's see what he can do. We got it off auto so we can see. Again, there's one part of his... Oh, I'm slower, so we're already dead. Well, this is what happens, my friends, when you rebuild your Arbiter to make your Shuzen faster. I'm no longer god tier speed in the arena anymore, at least with my Arbiter build, because I had to sacrifice so many pieces for Shuzen. I just can't get enough good speed gear. There's nothing I can do. I need more. I need more good speed gear, and God knows I don't get the good rolls, as we've all seen. All right, so this is a great example of where he's going to kind of potentially struggle. So I could see him as being a really good Taurus counter because he hypothetically is dropping the turn meter of Taurus and freezing him, allowing you to do more damage. But we're going to go ahead and buff up with Arbiter. We're going to lock out here. Okay, we did get the lockout, but obviously they can reset with the Crixia. And again, because we've got Stone Skin on both of these champions, I cannot freeze them. There's nothing I can do here. This is where he really, really suffers, in my opinion. Also, is this a 6-star polymorph? It is. We got 6-star polymorph on the Duchess as well, so he has a really good chance of being sheeped. But ideally what's going to happen here is we're going to place a freeze debuff on the Duchess and a freeze debuff on the Taurus and drop their turn meters to 0. So let's see what happens. I'm actually going to slow this down so we can really see it. Okay, he did freeze both. This is exactly what I'm talking about, though, because I think there is a bug in his kit, because there is no way that her turn meter would be this high after he drops it to 0. I don't know what's going on here. I think this is a bug. I've actually reported this to Plarium. They haven't said anything yet because I think it's the holidays, but this to me shouldn't be 3/4 of a turn meter when his ability says that he drops it to 0. Now, one of the other things that I noticed when I was testing him earlier, and it happened, and maybe we'll get it to be recreated here, was that he actually also has a chance to get resisted on that turn meter drop, even if he places the freeze debuff, which is also not how it should be from the way it's worded. Like, if he places a freeze, the turn meter should drop to 0. So I think he's bugged, and I think that's part of why his reviews are so bad, because she should be at 0 turn meter. He got dropped to 0 turn meter. We can see that there, and he got a little bit back when the next turn rolled around, but something ain't working right. Something is not working right. So, okay, let's see what we do here. We have increased attack from the Arbiter. Let's see if we can kill the Marichka. We can't because she's got reaction, which is a bummer. Interestingly enough, we're going to go back to +2 here. We're not going to be able to do anything. She's going to cleanse. Or no, we shut her down. Excuse me. What am I talking about? So now we can actually place Hex. And he's turned into a sheep. And there is the issue. Right there. You see it. You see it right there, my friends. He becomes a sheep all too easily. Like, this champion has so much potential to be really, really good. Even in Stone Skin, in a Stone Skin meta, I still think he has the potential to be useful. But the problem is what you just saw right there. He, with Polymorph, is unfortunately a massive, 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 liability, because he's going to spend most of the game as a sheep. And we can see that here. Here he is look at him sheeping it up. Shepherd Drock is going to have to get him out of here. So this is one of those things where he should get better with time once they actually nerf Polymorph, assuming they actually decide to do it. But it is really frustrating to see a champion that would otherwise be good be so severely limited because he can't actually use his abilities the way that he's supposed to. Again, and also the fact that, he has to be bugged. There's no way he's not, is the only thing I can think of. Like, he's got to be bugged because he should be dropping the turn meter of everybody to 0, and it doesn't seem like he is. And again, like the other problem here, because I don't have him built fast enough. So again, we dropped the turn meter to 0 on both of those, so it worked that time. But the other problem is, like, you need him to be super fast in order to be that speed lead. But boy, it increased the damage there. I mean, that ignore defense is no joke. So it's not that he's not usable. It's just that it's very, very tricky to make it work up here in Platinum Arena. So obviously we're in the top of Platinum Arena, by the way. I should have showed you this earlier. So we're really facing hard teams. Let's take another one. This is a great example. Great. Solid team. Let's take a look at Helicath. This is where I think he could potentially shine. We also have no polymorph here, which is extremely important to make sure that we don't end up as a sheep. Okay. High resistance Duchess. Let's see again if he drops everybody's turn meter. Again, what is going on here? What the heck is going on here, man? I can't think of what is happening. I don't know why this would be happening other than a bug, because it's not a cycle of revenge thing. He's not critting. I don't know what's happening. I can't figure out why this is occurring. The only thing I can think of is this has to be a bug. Like, his turn meter should be at 0. There's no way this guy is this fast. Her turn meter should also be closer to 0. His is, you know, more realistic, but something ain't working correctly here is all I can think of. I don't know. Something ain't working the way it's supposed to. Really, really, really strange. All right, let's see if we can decrease some buffs. He's going to die for it. We did get 1 decrease buff. Oh, he's still frozen. Never mind. Awesome. So this is like, I mean, the ability to freeze like this is pretty sick when you think about it. Super useful in that regard. Let's again try to decrease buffs. He's going to get killed here by the Taurus. The Taurus is awake. We'll boost the turn meter. We'll get a little increased attack here. This guy's going to nuke my Georgid unless I can kill him. There we go. We got, oh, he got stunned. What's the accuracy on this dude? My Georgid's got close to 300 resistance, so I'm very surprised. Like, what people building them Tauruses with a lot of accuracy here. Sheesh. And again, keep in mind he's not fully booked, so there's more potential for him to do what I would say, you know, get back to that A3, which is the big draw. Now the question is, do I think I have to wait? Because otherwise Helicath is going to kill the Georgia here. Yep, there goes Helicath. Okay, awesome. All right, let's... So we did freeze both of them, which is great. Now we can res. Don't think we're going to get back around. Duchess might get the opportunity to res. Nope, she's not. Awesome. Really, such an interesting, like, this is, I think, one of the more frustrating aspects. And I talk about it all the time when I do these videos, but you think about a champion like this, and in a pre-polymorph meta, you know what I mean? He's awesome. Like, he's incredible. A pre-polymorph meta or pre-stone skin, he's one of the best champions in the game for sure. Because that ability to freeze and drop turn meter and increase ignore defense is actually quite good. But in the current meta, he really, really gets hurt by it. Let's see if we can pick one more team. We'll pick another. It's a double Taurus team. So let's see how he does against a double Taurus team, assuming I'm faster. I might not be. Double stone skin, really rough. Okay, we did get the lockout, which is good. Okay, turn meter drop, huge. I'm sure they have reaction, so I'm just going to drill the Taurus. And we're going to speed up again. Sleep that Taurus. Just going to get back around. Let's boost the turn meter. They're both frozen. Good night, Marichka. Good night, Taurus. Hey, dude, look at that damage. That's really not bad. I mean, to be able to wipe a Taurus, is, you know, with a skill is not an easy thing to do, to say the least. Whew, the Sifi is built tanky. Sheesh. That's a tanky girl. we polymorphed off of, it's actually incredible. We polymorphed off of that. Awesome. Let's just A1. I mean, you can see where he could be really good. You know what I mean? You can see it here. The potential is totally there. Like, it really is totally there. He just has to. First off, they have to figure out what's going on with the drop turn meter, because I'm telling you right now, he's definitely got some kind of bug going on with that drop turn meter thing, and they've got to address that. Man, I tell you what, when and if they nerf polymorph or balance polymorph correctly, I think you're going to see this guy make an appearance in Arena as a potentially really good champion. I don't know. Again, like he's hard countered by Stone Skin from the perspective of he doesn't land that freeze, and that's obviously going to come into play the more people have Stone Skin accessories to potentially block that from happening. But usually you're not going to run into entire teams full of Stone Skin, at least at the moment. And again, if polymorph is nerfed correctly, then you're going to have ways to counter that by actually stripping again, potentially, you know, with people like Lady Kimi or even Prince Kaimar, to get those strips off without them becoming sheep. So I don't know, like my initial impression is he's got a lot to make him interesting. I just wish that the game weren't so punitive to champions like this so that he could actually do what he was built to do. I don't know if I would agree with these reviews right now. I think this is a little harsh for where he's at right now. I think he's maybe slightly more useful than this, maybe a 4 in arena offense. I don't think he's really a super great arena defense champ, but I think he could be better than this. Then again, polymorph, I don't know. It is a really tough call, because it really does just come down to how much are you going to get polymorph to make him useful or not. So anyway, that's the showcase. Let me know what you guys think of him. Do you think he's potentially someone you would see yourself using? Do you think he's kind of just completely hamstrung by polymorph and Stone Skin? Where do you fall in terms of your thoughts on Karilon the Ringer? I don't know, but maybe I'll bust him out in live arena again. I tried to do it last night and it didn't go so great because I didn't have him built super awesome. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you pulled a Karilon as well, let me know. And as always, appreciate the support. So I'll see you soon. And until then, Big Papa Drock out.